Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott wave update for Bitcoin. I'm going to get into the 15-minute counts, but just a quick recap on the daily. Since our significant low, I have my primary count as wave 1, 2, 3, 4 complete, working on our wave 5 to complete. Now, important things to note, we did not reach the 1.618 extension in blue at 76,625, taken from the beginning of wave 1, off of the top of wave 1, extended off of wave 2. That's where we look for our third wave target. We did not reach that. What that leaves us open to is the potential when we come up and make this wave, this becomes a wave 1 and 2 within a fifth wave, and we keep extending to the upside. It just leaves open that possibility. Now, very important that we hold this 53,485 level. If we do not hold this level, it opens up to a much lower price. I'm not going to get into that now unless we start invalidating this wave 2. Now let's get into the smaller time frames. This is my primary count currently. This is that wave 4 bottom. Now off that wave 4 bottom, I have this as a wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 3 nested 1, 2s. Our third wave target in blue came to the extended wave 3 target, again taking from wave 1 off of wave 2. We usually target the 1.618, that was at 62,000. Our second extension target was the 2.618, which we hit to a tick at 68,529. After that, we're looking for a wave 4. This ended up being an ABC as a zigzag, and then we got our fifth wave to the upside. Fourth wave here being a triangle. Now for our fifth wave target, we took the length of wave 1, projected it off of wave 4 because third wave was extended, looking for the 1-to-1 where wave 5 equals wave 1, and that was at 69,375. Came a little above that, then we got our reaction for our correction. Important to note, this only completes a larger wave 1, looking for a wave 2, a micro version of this. Waves within waves. Okay, as for time expectation, we want at least a 30% extension in time of this entire move. You can see that brings us to August 5th, but usually we'd like to see within the 618 and the 1-to-1 in time. Now this is a guideline, not a rule, but I like to see at least that 30%. So from this move off the high, we had two options. One was our fifth wave actually ended back here at the 1-to-1, and this is a flat pattern, which can be counted as a W wave, and then we'd get our larger X and get another Y. But because I can count 5 waves here pretty nicely, this fourth got a little sketchy, but it does count as 5 pretty nicely. I'm going to start as the wave 5 top over here. Just keeps things a little more simple. Now, as we analyze this, important things to do is put on our Fibonacci retracements. But first, our zone we're looking for is between the 382 and the 786, prefer to hold above the 618. I know there's a CME gap somewhere in here around the 60,000 mark, so we'll see which area we're come to, but this is the box we ideally come to eventually down the road, and we'll start analyzing this area here. Well, first of all, what we see is a move to the downside. Looks like 5 waves. This looks like a potential diagonal. Remember, a series of zigzags, contracting diagonal. Let's see if it measures as a C wave. Remember, what we're looking for is minimum to be considered complete is a 0.618 extension. And you can see we hit that right here. So it does count as an ABC. So first we'll start with that count. A, B, C. I usually like to see the 1-to-1, but unless this is a 1-2-1-2, most likely an ABC. Like so. Let's make that red. Now a 3-wave ABC. Remember, if this is a very significantly bullish market, we have hit the 236, which is like the minimum I want to see. So we can get a 3-wave move as an A wave in a flat. So these are just things we have to keep in mind. I'm trying to show you how I start to train my brain to see these things. So if we make some sort of complex correction and we keep coming up to the upside, remember this can be an A wave, maybe look for a B wave, C wave. Now what else this could be, we hit that 618 extension. That's also where I look for a 1-2-1-2. But that would have to happen pretty quickly. Let's consider the fact that this could be happening. We'll just overlay this count. And we'll put that in gray as an alternative. So what that would look like is we then have our 1-2 as a diagonal, another 1-2, like so. We look for 5 waves within our third wave. You can see we're getting pretty deep at this point. If we got something like this, I would expect we come to a deeper correction as a zigzag down to like the 786. So where we would target for in that, excuse me, in that scenario, let's put that on. Make that gray. There we go. Our wave 1 comes to the 618, which you know is a pretty standard target for a nested 1-2. Third wave comes to the 1.382 and the 236 of the larger 1-2 in that zone. And our wave 5 would come to the 1.618 for our third wave. Remember, we're taking our pull from our first 1-2. And we'd look for the 100, and we'd look between this zone. Obviously, we can hone in once we actually have these waves panned out, but that would be your A wave in a zigzag. You can see that would take us just shy of the 618. So we're going to leave this count on as an option until it becomes invalidated. Be looking for something like this. So I'm going to leave that count on for now, just so we have it as an option. I know you guys enjoy the education stuff, so I'm just going to do this one in real time. Maybe you can take something out of it. Now, important to note on this wave 2 is it should be complete very soon. Looks like we're at a 50% retracement right now. We pull from that wave. Looks like we just passed the 618. So I would pretty much eliminate this as soon as we pass like the 786. Obviously it's still valid, but invalidated past that wave 2 high. Where's my tool? Right here. That's where that becomes invalidated. So we'll leave that count up for now, and we'll put that in our alternative. Let me just put that in a group, ABC. Okay, so there's our ABC. So important to note that this impulse would end somewhere around 60,000 to 61,000 if this is an idealized A wave within a zigzag. So we'll remove that. Remember, this also counts as an ABC. So we're looking for a sharp correction, right? We are in a wave 2. So we know flats can happen in bullish markets, but we still have to have our bias. It's going to be a sharp correction for a wave 2. Now, how I would consider this one is a W wave, ABC, X, ABC, double zigzag. And what that looks like, let me find it, right here. Okay, we can go back to the 15-minute. In this scenario, we have our first ABC. So we're looking for an X wave. Unfortunately, there's no real retracement on an X wave that is consistent. It can be the 382, it can be very short, it can be very extended. It's one of the most inconsistent. So it's best just to put on your retracements and track the waves in real time. Look for one-to-ones, etc. And this becomes invalid, the WXY, past the, not invalid, but comes more likely a flat, right, as an ABC past the 90%. So I'll throw that on just so I know in the future that if we pass that, this is more likely an A wave, B wave, and a C wave rather than a WXY. So looking for a potential pivot here. I'd use our standard area between the 50 and the 618 is where we usually want to get it. But if we're looking for a double zigzag, you know, ideally that we're looking for a 5-wave move down once this X is complete. Because in a double zigzag, we only get a 5-3-5, right? Just like this, 5-3-5. So once we get a move up here and you see a 5-wave move in either a diagonal or an impulse, that is an option for a trade setup. Stop goes at that high, right? And that's how you'd get that trade setup. And at that point is where you would target the 1-to-1 of W off of X. Targets are pretty much the same as an ABC and same requirements. The 618 is the minimum. So we'll put that in red. And you can see if you get this setup, you don't just enter it blindly, but if you see those nice 5-wave moves, get a nice pullback between a 50 and a 618. Like so. That's a nice trade setup, right? It's 4-to-1. If you risk 1%, that's 4% upside on your trade. So those are the moves I am looking for. Either a fast sell-off impulse, and this becomes, let me put these in a category. WXY micro. So that's our WXY. That's our ABC. You can see the difference. WXY, we kind of grind up here sideways a little more. Look for a 5-wave move down. We can trade the C wave. ABC, stop goes at this previous high, right? And we're targeting down here around 61,000. See, that's about an 8-to-1. So this is why probabilities are good. Is it worth taking this trade? You have to make that decision to yourself. But what I can say is it probably works out this way at least 1 in 8 times, right? Probably more like 60-40. So just getting probabilities on your side every single trade you take, you're going to be a big winner over a long term. it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. If the trade setup is there, it's worth taking, right? And you know, if this gets invalidated and we come above this wave 2, no problem. This is my next trade setup, right? The WXY. So you don't get upset. You're just like, if this happens, I'm going to do that. All right, so I've dragged on a long time here, following along these 2 corrections. We'll see which one we get. And again, if we do pass that 90%, I would consider the fact that we can get 5 waves down for an ABC. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think one of those ABCs or the WXY is likely to happen. All right, guys, that's it for Bitcoin. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.